Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming to the mound tonight's ceremonial first pitch participant and honorary Houston Cougar from Gonzalez Electric, Anthony Chacon. All right, Anthony, let's see that arm. Thanks to Gonzalez Electric and Anthony for their support.
I don't know if I can see.
Cougar Baseball.
this Friday evening, we'll welcome you to the Cougars Den here in Houston, Texas, as they welcome to town your preseason favorites and your current leaders out of the clubhouse, the Pirates of ECU, now 6-0, entering week number 3 in the American. Two of the perennial powers here in the American colliding over the next few games. Welcome into the American Digital Network. Lincoln Rose along with Kit McConico, and Kit mentioned two of the favorites each and every year, living up to expectations. Certainly the Pirates trying to take that show now on the road at 6-0.
That's exactly right. The lone undefeated team remaining in the American, looking to continue that winning streak. They have won their last 10. And for Houston, they've had to come from behind in their last 3 victories, but they're playing at home tonight. They'll be looking to put that first blemish on the Pirates' record.
Let's take a look at your keys to this matchup. First up for the Pirates, how do they improve to 7-0?
Well, for ECU, it's all about painting the zone. Throw strikes, force Houston batters to make something happen. No free passes for a very good hitting team. A long outing, you want your starting pitcher to go at least 5 innings before you have to go to the bullpen and keep it going. You have the longest winning streak, that 10-game streak, undefeated in conference 6-0. You have all the momentum. Just keep playing the way you have been.
As for the Cougars, a slow start, just taking 1 game each of the past 2 weekends. How do they get back on track?
Well, for Houston playing at home, they need a quick start. They can ill afford to get behind to a very talented Pirates team. They would like to get up early and swing the stick. Very good at the plate are the Cougars, and they're going to need 1 through 9 to really put the ball in play and build on momentum. You mentioned what they've been able to do coming from behind their last 3 games for victories. They've won 3 in a row. That's their longest winning streak since early in March.
Well, why are the Pirates 6-0? They are getting great performances from their starters, including each and every Friday from Jake Agnos.
Agnos, the junior for Virginia, the pitcher of the week in the American, tied a career high with 11 strikeouts through 6 scoreless innings and a 4-0 series opening win last Friday over USF. The junior pitching the best he has all season, and he's going to have to continue to do so against a talented Houston lineup.
As for the Cougars, got bad news for the rest of the league when Joe Davis did not go pro. That means he's back for his senior year, still swinging Thor's hammer.
He is indeed the big bat from Austin, the senior. A fantastic season at the plate, named to the midseason perfect game Rawlings All-American second team earlier this week, leads the conference in RBI, second in the league in home runs, and third in slugging percentage.
Cougars welcome to town. The Pirates trying to hang the first loss on ECU of the young campaign. Opening pitch when we come back.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further, let your story unfold. Passionately, smashing every expectation. Create and express, every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Welcome back to Don Sanders Field at Darrell and Lori Schrader Park. Lincoln Rose, Kit McConico with you. And for the first time today, let's check in down on the diamond with Coral Riggs. Coral?
Lincoln, Kit, what a beautiful day for some baseball here in Houston. Now, we've got U of H, a team, as you mentioned, that's come back from behind in a lot of its last recent wins. However, today against ECU, a team that's leading the conference and riding a 10-game winning streak, that might be more of a challenge. So Houston head coach Whitting said to be successful today, they've got to start hot and stay hot and be aggressive in the box. However, ECU's got Jake Agnos on the mound, who's been solid all year and seems to keep getting better. Guys, back to you.
Of course, Houston, the home team, they'll be out on the diamond first and getting the nod today for the Cougars. Of course, there you see him, Lyle Lockhart, and Kid Lyle's provided them some nice consistency on Fridays.
Yeah, he has indeed. Lockhart, he's moved into that Friday starter role after being the Sunday starter through the first 3 weeks of the season. A 4.38 ERA, record of 1-4. Seen action in 7 games, 37 innings pitched this season for Lockhart.
Lockhart making his 8th start. Work our way through the ECU lineup. It will be Bryant Packard, the left fielder, leading off. Lane Hoover's on deck. Spencer Brickhouse in the hole. The minimum 3 that Lockhart would have to face here in the top half of the first inning. We are underway. The Pirates 6-0, sweeping the 2 Florida schools over the first 2 weekends of conference play. They actually knocked off the Cougars last year in Florida in the conference tournament, as the 2 teams would collide twice in Clearwater. Houston picking up the first win, ECU the ultimate win in that semifinal before they would move on to the championship and claim yet another automatic ticket punch to the NCAA tournament, where the Pirates have now been 15 in the last 20 campaigns. A couple of lefties going today. Again, Lockhart, that 4.38 ERA, the junior.
Batters averaging 230 against him. He's given up 20 walks. He struck out 40, 32 hits against Lockhart.
Good bat on it. Unable to get it with the backhand. It'll get past Burkell and into right. So regardless how you score it, Packard is on to lead things off and set the table here for ECU.
A good start there for the Pirates. Packard, he's been hot recently. Grand slams in consecutive games at USF and a leadoff single.
So Joe Davis will be charged with holding Packard on as Lane Hoover steps up to the plate. And that is going to be officially an error on Burkell.
Pirates able to get the first batter aboard.
And you see the mindset here. Hoover not necessarily giving himself up with the bunt, has some nice speed. Just a freshman, batting .348 this year. As he takes a look at the Rosetta Stone on his left wrist. You can see that great new venue that'll be completed in time for this fall. We'll have more on that a little bit later on. As Packard being held on by Davis at first. Nice bunt. This should get the job done. A sacrifice by Hoover will put Packard early here in scoring position.
Well executed there from the freshman. The center fielder doing exactly what he was tasked with in that at bat. Lays down a perfect bunt. Lockhart off the mound and the throw over. But now a runner in scoring position for the Pirates.
Packard doesn't run very often. Just 2 for 2 on stolen base attempts. So they move him over with the bunt. Here's Spencer Brickhouse. Tied for second on the team with 19 RBI. Hitting a healthy .377 this year is Spencer.
Brickhouse, 6 home runs, 19 runs batted in. He was Conference Player of the Week a week ago.
At .377 average and .714 slugging, both top 5 in the conference this year. First pitch right side, Burkell has a handle on this. 2 batters later, Packard moves from one corner to the other. So ECU, potential go-ahead run now 90 feet away, but with 2 outs.
ECU doing the work. Brickhouse able to move the base runner 90 feet away. We'll see if the Pirates can take advantage and find the opener here in the first frame.
Brings up Alec Burleson, sophomore, hitting .408 this year. Top clip for ECU. That is your best batting average in the American so far this year. And to make yourself feel worse about your own abilities, he's a two-way player. He can pitch when he's not holding that bat.
And what a fantastic job he's done this season. 21 runs batted in, 10 doubles, 14 runs scored, 42 hits in 14 multi-hit games.
It's been a nice sophomore campaign for Alec out at Denver, Colorado. Burden right now on the battery of Lockhart and Lovelace. Any ball that gets past your catcher Lovelace could result in Packard coming home. With 2 outs, here's the 0-1 offering. Well read by Triolo. No damage done after Packard reached on the air, would move over to third, but there he'll be left stranding. Half an inning in the books. Cougars at the plate for the first time with Triolo, Filamovich, and Davis when we come back.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly, we got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further, let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express, every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
Or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
No damage done in the top half by the bats of the Pirates. Cougars will now get their first opportunity. Standing in their way, the man on the mound, Jake Agnos. Again, you can pretty much, in ink, write him in as your Friday night starter as long as he's healthy this year.
Agnos, the junior lefty, has been fantastic. 2.92 ERA, record of 4-1. 40 innings pitched, he's given up 33 hits. Has walked 12, struck out 61. That leads the conference. Batters averaging a measly 217 against Agnos.
And Jake.
Austin out of Lake Travis High School, unanimous preseason All-American Athletic Conference there at third. A #2 draft prospect in the American.
He just missed out on being baseball teammates with a young man by the name of Baker Mayfield at Lake Travis. Baker was about 2 feet away in a state championship game from having a game-winning home run to punch the Cavaliers' ticket into the final. Came up short of the semifinals. He had to settle for some football state titles.
Triolo, 296 average, 32 hits and 108 at-bats.
Trill's been swinging about as good as a bat as anybody for Houston, as Todd Whitting had been keeping Jared in the middle of the lineup, but realized we need to get him those extra at-bats.
He and Joe Davis in the 3-hole, the only Cougars who have started every game this season.
As he continues to fight here, count stays at 2-2.
Perfect 5 for 5 in stolen bases. Always a threat if he's able to get aboard.
And he has Bielamovich on deck, then Davis. Facing Jake Agnos here for the first time. As this one should get down in front of Hoover. Leadoff base hit for the Cougars, courtesy of Jared Triolo.
And a great job. Fantastic at bat from Triolo. Saw pitches, fouled off a few that weren't to his liking, found something that he could drive into center. Found a soft spot.
That'll pull him closer to 300 on the year. Tyler Bielamovich batting .262. We've seen Tyler on the mound some this year, starting in right field today. One of the many Houston products out of Cypress, Texas.
Bielamovich, 16 hits and 61 at-bats this season.
Agnos, the southpaw, with a good view of Triolo. And Bielamovich realizes, just gave himself up, and Triolo's going to have to hold at first. Could not get the bunt down.
No, not at all what Bielamovich was tasked with doing in that situation. Needed to put that one down on the carpet. Couldn't do so, and easily collected for the first out.
So a break for Agnos and the Pirates, and their luck may have just come to an end.
And here he is, the big bat. All the talk about Joe Davis out of Bowie High School in Austin, the senior. He has set records this season, not just for the Cougars, but in the conference as well.
Well, he arrived making a splash his freshman year here in Houston, 14 home runs. And as well as he has played, we remind you, he's had 3 surgeries throughout his campaign, or his career. Finally, he spent this past offseason and this fall healthy. A full healthy stretch here for Todd Whitting and the Cougars. They're excited about what Joe can do without the pressure of thinking about that draft after your junior year in college. He squarely focused right now on his final college campaign.
Houston's career record holder in extra base hits, home runs, RBI, and total bases.
Yeah, leads the conference with his 38 RBI.
Lincoln, this is the battle that everyone wanted to see. Agnos and Davis, star left-hander, the big bat, and a beautiful pitch there. Agnos just able to find his spot and ahead in the count 1-2.
Modest lead for Triolo, just a couple strides off the bag. With one out, Davis behind on this one. Well, the Cougars right now are in a stretch of playing 10 games in 13 days. These are games 8, 9, and 10. And, you know, let me correct that. Now it's 10 games in 12 days because Sunday's game has been moved to tomorrow. There will be a doubleheader tomorrow due to some pending weather on Sunday, as Davis does not do Agnos any favors there. That's going to be a 1 o'clock local start time in Houston for game one. They'll get the second game tomorrow underway about 45 minutes later.
The Cougars back to conference action after coming off a pair of midweek victories, defeating Lamar 8-7. Then FIU a 5-4 victory in walk-off fashion, coming from the bat of the man at the plate.
Runner going. Davis not offering as the pitch was high. The throw is high as well, not by much, but Triolo is in with the swipe. He's 6 for 6 on the campaign.
Yeah, Triolo got a great jump. The throw high, never in any real danger of getting him, and you see it here. Well-read Triolo, able to get there in plenty of time and puts himself in scoring position with the stolen base.
And now Davis with that runner in scoring position. Joe Davis will send this one out towards center. It's going to hang up, however, for Hoover, who comes in to make the grab. As Triolo still able to advance 90 feet, but now 2 away.
And the first battle between Davis and Agnos. Agnos comes up victorious. You see the power of Davis. Ultimately just a long, hard out into deep center. No trouble for Hoover.
Kit, you mentioned those midweek matchups. Lamar from nearby Beaumont out of the Southland Conference. That required a comeback from the Cougars. Then 2 nights ago, FIU, who's in town to play Rice in conference play this weekend. That required, as you mentioned, a comeback in the walk-off to avoid extra innings. Todd Whitting is desperate for his Cougars to strike first, take some pressure off the pitching for the Cougars, give them a lead to work with. As this is Ray Fuentes, not his grandfather, not his father. This is Ray Fuentes the third in his senior campaign, hitting 300 now.
Fuentes, another local product out of Deer Park by way of Alvin Community College.
Of course, the Deer Park mascot, the deer.
You tell me. Home of one Andy Pettit.
Yep.
A few other major league players that have come out of that high school program.
We will not be seeing Andy's son tonight, as Jared Pettit in that FIU game got the start but took a line drive off his arm for an abbreviated outing. Fuentes up the middle, chance to get out of the inning. Lloyd to Brickhouse. No! Cougars will plate Triolo. Oh, it looked like a routine third and final out, but Lloyd will throw it wide of the bag.
That is a huge turn right there and a big break for the Cougars, putting them on top 1-0. Should have been the third out of the inning. A routine ground ball over to Lloyd, but the throw just off the mark. Brickhouse unable to pick it, and Houston takes the lead.
So Fuentes puts the ball in play. He'll get to run the bases now, still with 2 outs. Here's Derek Cherry, your designated hitter for the Cougars today.
One of our keys for Houston was get off to a quick start. They've done that. They found the lead.
The freshman first pitch swinging against Agnos. Again, Jake has a 2.92 ERA this year, just 13 earned runs through 7 starts this season. That run will not be earned. It's the first error of the half inning after his leadoff base hit for Triolo.
And we'll see how Agnos responds. His last time out, he threw a scoreless 6 innings, recorded 11 strikeouts.
Jake got that start in the championship last year. Wouldn't get the decision, but struck out 9 to set a conference tournament record. riding a lot of momentum into this year after the Pirates would go on and host the Greenville Regional. While these Cougars considered their postseason run, they went to Chapel Hill, where North Carolina, those Tar Heels, hosted. Both of them would see their postseasons end in the Tar Heel State. Ball gets down. Fuentes there in time.
And Washer able to block it, but looks like he had trouble locating it. Fuentes wisely taking advantage. Able to steal second. See Washer doing a good job, but just couldn't get to it in time. Fuentes speedy. He comes away with the stolen base. His first of the season.
Cherry ahead in the count here against Agnos with 2 outs. And with 2 strikes already to his name, there's out number 3, but not before Fuentes puts a ball in play. Jared Triolo able to come home on the infield miscue from the Pirates after 1. Cougars give their pitcher Lockhart a lead.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
Powerful minds, strong in mind, strong in body. The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see,
then it needs to be okay to seek help for injuries we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help. End the stigma.
Well, Todd Whitting got his wish. The former Houston Cougar, now head coach for his 9th year with Houston, saw the bats of the Cougars ultimately afford a lead for Lyle Lockhart to work with here as he steps onto the rubber for a 2nd inning.
Exactly what the Cougars wanted to start things off, 1-0 with the advantage. We'll see the response coming from the Pirates.
Turner Brown set to lead things off here out of the 5 spot. He's been really your shortstop ever since he arrived as a freshman, now in his 4th and final campaign, wearing that number 8 on his back. 14 career game-winning RBI. Looking for a few more before his senior campaign wraps up.
Brown, ECU's all-time leader with 49 sacrifices, 5th in assists, and tied for 6th in hit by pitches with 27.
Fights that one off. Of all the things that'll show up in the box score, what Cliff Godwin would like everyone to know is one thing Turner Brown can't do is grow a mustache. As the month of March, we'll have more on this, but ECU players did not shave. They helped raise over $10,000 for ALS, the ailment that would claim, of course, Lou Gehrig's disease. Their former head coach, Keith LeClaire, over there at ECU, the man who coached Cliff Godwin during his time as a player. This ball to left side. Able to take care of it. First batter retired for the first time today by either team. But ECU had the local media come out and watch them shave those mustaches off to start this week. I think that was back on Tuesday.
Hats off to the Pirates, what they've been able to do. In 4 years, they have raised over $43,000 in donations.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. And again, the power, even away from the athletic fields, of these student athletes and communities. Jake Washer unable to hold up behind the count, 0-1 for the 4th-year junior. And not doing any favors there for Lockhart.
No, Lockhart the opportunity to extend his lead. Chance to get up 0-2 in the count.
Lockhart had off-season elbow surgery, has really looked good ever since then. Throwing well.
Washer, the Pirates catcher, named to the 2019 Buster Posey watch list. Preseason all-conference selection by the league's head coaches as well.
For those of you who are debating in your mind just how real is this green grass you're seeing, not just the infield turf, but the mound is turf, and the places that lazily we would say ball is in the dirt, that's turf as well. As this one punched out towards center. Jonathan Thomas underneath it, out number 2.
A chance for a 3-up, 3-down inning, and that would be huge for Houston after claiming a lead in the first inning. See if they can get their bats back to the plate quickly.
So with 2 outs, that brings up the number 7 hitter, Brady Lloyd, for the first time today. Lloyd trying to atone for that miscue last half inning. Triolo. Bang, bang play. Cougars get the 3-up, 3-down, and that's how you would love to see your defense respond after the offense gets you a 1-run advantage. 6, 7, and 8 hitters due up for the Cougars for the first time when we come back here on the American Digital Network. Bernie scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together. So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with 1 drop.
Change starts with 1 person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Cougars and their fans looking up in the air at a flyover here in the Houston area. Lincoln Rose, Kim McConico welcoming you back.
Great start for Houston, able to find a run early in a 1-2-3 inning, a chance for the Cougars now back coming up to bat.
Let's check in with Coral.
Leading on for your Cougars.
Yes, guys, I want to go back to Mustache March, what y'all talked about just a few minutes ago. This year, this team, this ECU Pirate team, raised over $10,000. This is the 4th year that they've been doing this. And earlier this week, head coach Godwin talked obviously about this team's skill, but he talked very highly of this team's character. And I think something like this speaks so much of their character, and that's been a reason of their success, as Godwin referred to earlier this week. Back to you guys.
Yeah, he had players come up and asking him, can we do Mustache March? And he said, well, we're only doing this if it's going to actually create an opportunity to support something. And the players wisely came up with the idea of ALS, knowing that that was so close to this program and so close to this community. Cliff Godwin wrapped up his playing career at ECU back in 2000. Again, his coach, Keith LeClaire, namesake of the Diamond there in Greenville. And it all made sense. Past 4 years, a remarkable effort by these young men.
They've been able to extend it.
That's a drop 3rd strike as the out-recorded Brett Esau goes down swinging. 2 strikeouts today for Agnos.
Talking about that Mustache March, not just an ECU thing. They've teamed up this year with Memphis and Michigan as well. You see that throw down to first in plenty of time as Agnos picks up his 2nd strikeout.
Yeah, members of the coaching staffs for the Wolverines and the Tigers of Michigan and Memphis, also with their ties to Cliff Godwin in the program. Here's Brad Burkell, number 7 hitter for Houston. Shows bunt, pulls back. Freshman out of Lindale, Texas. You don't have to get out of the state very often recruiting for Houston, let alone out of your own city. Could not hold up.
Burkell, 245 average. 7 runs batted in, 23 hits and 94 bats for the freshman from Northeast Texas. And for Houston, an embarrassment of riches, the talent here in the Lone Star State. And you see that reflected on their roster. So many of them from Texas. Rarely do they have to leave the confines.
Of course, you have 4 Division I baseball programs in this city alone with Houston, Rice. Rice has been pretty good, by the way, over the years. Houston Baptist and Texas Southern. Texas Southern really just down the street here from Houston. 1 out right now for Brad Burkell, facing Jake Agnos the first time through the lineup. Shows bunt. Did he pull back in time? They say no. And that is another strikeout. We've seen a drop third strike, get thrown down to first, and then there's just the tag applied. Jake Agnos has struck out the last 3 Cougars.
And that's just a freshman mistake there from Burkell. He thought he was able to pull it back in time. He was not. Good call from our third base umpire. Had a clear view of it. And Agnos really starting to find his footing. Has at least 7 strikeouts in the last 6 straight games already, with 3 in this one.
So 2 outs. Here's the 8th spot, Jonathan Thomas.
Thomas, the freshman out of the Kincaid School here in Houston.
You know, we've seen a lot of the Cougars square around. They'll do that a lot with base runners on, not necessarily to concede the out, but they just want to keep that bat in the vision of the catcher. Obviously, that hasn't been applicable these past few hitters, as nobody's been able to reach against Agnos here in the second.
2-1 count to Thomas, just a 125 average. 4 hits, 32 at bats this season. Agnos starting to feel it.
Yeah, Jake this year has been throwing high 80s, low 90s, about 88 to 92. Mentioned he's developed the changeup. Let's see what he goes with here on a 2-2 offering to Thomas with 2 away.
Thomas just able to get a piece of that. 2 fastballs in a row. Agnos just rearing back and daring Thomas to catch up to it.
Jonathan, one of the 2, make it 3 freshmen in the lineup here. Hitting $1.25 this season so far. And they'll say a foul tip there. Home plate umpire, by the way, is Ryan Broussard. Dale Luker at first, Eddie Newsom at second, and Mark Lewis, our third base umpire.
Pirates went down in order, looking to return the favor.
Will this one get back to the dugout? It gets beyond that, back into the crowd. A lot of great places around the ballpark to take in college baseball, including that berm off in the distance. And pretty soon there will be a nice vantage point in the new facility down left field at Clubhouse and Development Center. Cougars are anxious to move in there.
That's going to be a fantastic facility. And what a day this is. Fans continuing to find their way out here to the ballpark. I mentioned the doubleheader tomorrow due to the impending inclement weather, but right now, weather perfect for game 1 of this series.
Jonathan Thomas with a prolonged at bat here out of the 8th spot. Agnos finally got it past him. Jake Agnos strikes out the side. He has fanned the past 4 Cougars to keep this just a 1-run deficit through 2 innings.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
We are not too far from downtown Houston. Depends what highway and which rush hour you get stuck in. Lincoln Rose, Kevin Conoco, Coral Riggs back with you here on the American Digital Network. Great to have you with us as we saw these Pirates in their opener. A nice showing against UCF. They then took care of business against those Bulls from Tampa. Cliff Godwin, one of our two alumni of their respective programs, at the helm these days. As last year, a 44-win campaign. Mentioned they got to host their own regional. You take a look at some of the accolades for Coach Godwin now in his 5th year at the helm.
And Coach Godwin, a 4-year letter winner in his time playing for the Pirates, now being able to take over his alma mater. What a treat that is. So special. And he mentioned that to you and I, being able to coach a team that you have such memories of and being able to give those to these young men. Mentioned the closeness of this team numerous times in speaking with us earlier this week, and he said that's really what has made them so successful.
Yeah, Godwin bringing back those winning ways, and he'll point out that their fans, what support they've had in Greenville, they have led the state of North Carolina in attendance 17 straight years, with apologies to those programs over in the ACC. This one's going to hang up. Joe Davis calls for the fair catch. No return. As that was Seth Goodell again, now 0 for 1 to start the day. Out of the 8 spot, that'll bring us to the final spot in this lineup for the Pirates and Ryder Giles.
Pirates still trying to get something going from the plate. See if it's Giles, 6th in the nation in sack bunts.
One of 2 freshmen in the lineup for the Pirates, hitting .254 this year. And that pitch down the middle from Lockhart. Lyle Lockhart now in his 2nd straight inning of work on the mound with a lead to work with after the Cougars were able to plate 1 unearned in the bottom of the 1st. As Jared Triolo, the only man to score so far for either team. Here's the 0-1 offering. Triolo.
Lockhart just continues to cruise his first time through the lineup. Pirates unable to come up with a base hit off the junior lefty.
Only one Pirate has reached base so far today. That's this man, Bryant Packard, about to step in. Bryant, remember, would wind up being stranded on 3rd to end the inning after a sacrifice bunt and a couple of ground outs. See if he can get back on and prolong this 3rd inning. Nice break.
Takes for strike 1, Packard. An error from the second baseman put him aboard in his first at bat.
Well, you talk about not spending much on the recruiting budget. Packard's from Greenville. As Coach Godwin didn't have to look far to find him. Now a junior, last year's conference player of the year when he hit .406, had that 32-game hitting streak. Came into this year, 5 different publications had him as a preseason All-American.
He came into this series having scored a run in 7 straight games. Another guy who spent his summer with Team USA. that collegiate national team alongside his pitcher.
Two outs, nobody on. Packard just trying to extend this inning with Lane Hoover on deck, facing Lyle Lockhart for a second time. And that's a free pass that Coach Todd Whitting really emphasized. Cannot give up free outs. And not just errors, but includes walks and hit batters in there, and that just prolongs an opportunity here in the third inning.
It does indeed. Packard hit by a pitch for the first time this season. And as good as the Pirates are at the plate, you cannot give them free base runners.
He was wearing that elbow protection, but I don't think you would argue that that had anything to do with him getting hit that time. It wasn't exactly the size of Biggio or Bonds that they used to wear.
Yeah, the only two ECU base runners have gotten aboard via Houston miscues.
Yeah, both by the name of Bryant Packard.
We'll see if he can find a way to advance himself into scoring position. If ECU can figure out a way to tie this one up.
Lane Hoover at the plate. Cliff Godwin confided in us he has just one job, and that's to hit ground balls. That's in the 2 spot. More often than not, has Packard on the base paths when he comes up. Right now it's with 2 outs.
Hoover did his job the first time. He laid down a sacrifice bunt, moved Packard to second, but with 2 outs, I think he's going to have to swing the bat in this situation.
Well, if we had the telestrator connected right now, I would challenge you to try to find the 20,000 square foot clubhouse and development center in that shot. That has sprouted up over this past year.
A beautiful facility, and Cougar Athletics just continuing to grow. Such a great tradition in history, not just on the diamond, but obviously what they've been able to do on the football field and the hardwood, certainly on the track as well.
Runner was going. As Bryant Packard caught stealing by Lovelace, they were willing to gamble there. That just means Hoover will lead off the next inning. It's a 3-up, 3-down fair, not so traditional manner here in the third.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
Powerful minds, strong in mind, strong in body. The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see,
then it needs to be okay
to seek help for injuries
we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help. End the stigma.
Slight wind blowing in at the moment here in Houston. Nothing that Joe Davis can't overcome, as we've seen throughout his 4 years. But of course, Jake Agnos has been the headliner in the American this year, one of the top arms we have seen, and one of the reasons why the Pirates not only off to a 6-0 start in conference play, but enjoying a 10-game winning streak, and it has not been against pushovers. Pirates with a league best RPI of 16 coming into this weekend.
Agnos, he struck out the last 4 Cougars that have come up to face him. 65 strikeouts on the season. That leads the conference, and 35 of those strikeouts swinging.
Kyle Lovelace out of the 9 spot is the lone Cougar bat in the lineup that Agnos has not faced until now. Big cut, but Agnos able to blow it by him.
Lovelace, 154 average. 10 hits, 65 at-bats. Agnos mixing it up, but he certainly has the heat if he chooses to use it. That one right down Main Street for a 1-2 count.
Cougars have come from behind to win its past 3 games, including those midweek contests against Lamar and FIU. Right now, looking for insurance, already with a lead. This is going to hang up. Shortstop, just unable to squeeze it in. Turner Brown.
And that's one of those in a visiting ballpark, just don't quite know the dimensions, how far away. Difficult play always for Brown, ranging well over from short. Trying to keep an eye on the wall. Had plenty of room, but
yeah, just tough to gauge. Certainly a catcher like Lovelace, who's at the plate right now, can relate. Those pop-ups in foul territory, always playing games with your backstops.
Lovelace, new life in the at-bat.
Agnos. No damage done with nobody on. It'll be Kyle Lovelace here. Jared Triolo's on deck. He's the only man to score for either team, and Tyler Bilamovich in the hole. The minimum 3 Agnos would have to face. Jake Agnos has struck out the past 4 Cougars he has seen so far.
Lovelace secured his position behind the plate last year.
Stretches the bat over, opposite side of the plate. But Lloyd able to get it to Brickhouse in time.
So after a leadoff single by Triolo, Houston has not been able to find another hit.
Just 2 base runners today. The latter of whom Fuentes reached on that error that allowed Triolo to score. Here is Jared with 1 out, nobody on.
Triolo not chasing that one down at the shoe tops. Single to center, stole a base, and lone run thus far.
Mentioned Triolo, a lot of his career has been a little bit farther down in the lineup, but in your leadoff spot here. And Todd Whitting said, look, this lineup at Houston, he expects it to remain fluid. And he's okay with that. He's not anxious to always have the same guys 1 through 9. He wants to constantly make adjustments, keep motivating his players, and he may have made the right decision here. Triolo, the solo blast, just able to get one out. And Jared Triolo now, the only man not just to touch home plate once, but now twice to give the Cougars some insurance.
Triolo doing his job 2 times over. The solo shot. Houston, what a start for the home team. 2-0, Cougs on top in the bottom of the 3rd.
4th home run on the year, as Jared Triolo 2nd on the team for the Cougars with long balls.
Triolo just saw that one perfectly. Sends it right over the 375 mark in that left center power alley.
So still nobody on with 1 away for Tyler Bilamovich, who could not get that bunt down back in the 1st inning. Will not be asked to sacrifice himself here after Triolo's homer.
And with the exception of Jared Triolo, Jake Agnos having his way with the Houston batters. Triolo, he's made it 2-0.
Yeah, that's a significant insurance run for Houston, breathing a little bit easier, knowing what they're up against, not just today in Agnos, but potentially the rest of the week with these starters for the Pirates. We remind you that that other Jake Kuchmaner, just a couple weeks ago had the NCAA's 28th ever perfect game thrown. He's not even your Saturday guy traditionally for ECU. They've got a lot of quality arms in Greenville this year.
They do indeed. The battery deep and talented for the Pirates. They're going to have to find a way to come back in this one.
See what Bilamovich can do here with 1 away. And not helping out Agnos.
Agnos again, he continues to pepper the lower part of that zone, just unable to locate it. Bilamovich ahead with an 0-2, with a 2-0 count, excuse me. 3-0 rather. And draws the walk.
A 4-pitch walk for Bilamovich after the home run.
And it was going to be interesting to see how Agnos responded after giving up the home run. First big hit thus far, aside from that leadoff single to start the game, and 4-pitch walk. Not what the Pirates were hoping to see from their junior lefty.
We are back to Joe Davis out of the 3 spot for Houston with 1 out and 1 on. And that will be why Coach Rozelle comes out to talk to Jake Agnos about how they want to handle things here with Davis.
This is a big at bat. The man, as you said, toting Thor's hammer at the plate.
We talk about Thor's hammer. His brother into sheet work, metal work, actually forged a hammer similar to what you see with Thor. And whoever hits the most recent home run right now, that's Jared Triolo, takes that baby home.
Been a few times that has been in Joe Davis's possession, more often than not.
Joe with a chance to claim it back here. Bilamovic, the run on first with 1 away.
Agnos is going to be very careful not to put anything over the meat of the plate to Davis.
Joe second in the American this year in home runs with 12.
First pitch high, now low and in.
This inning began with a ground out from Lovelace out of the 9 spot, then a homer from Triolo, the walk on 4 pitches to that man Bilamovic, who's back in the bag safely. And that means Joe Davis is your 4th batter at the plate with 1 away. Everybody holds their breath when Joe takes a hack.
Rightfully so. Davis not getting the bat on ball where he was hoping for in that pitch. Agnos with a 1-2.
And Joe Davis not doing me any favors.
Davis not chasing that one well outside the zone. We've already mentioned him, but his 38 RBIs lead the conference. 12 home runs.
Excellent pitch from Agnos. That'll put the backwards K in the book. That ball appeared to break right in at the last second and gets Davis looking.
What a job here from Agnos. Back against the wall. Davis shakes his head. He knew it immediately. Agnos comes back with a big strikeout after the home run and the 4-pitch walk.
So that holds Bilamovic at first. Here's Ray Fuentes, who put that ball in play that led to the infield miscue. That would allow Triolo to score the first time.
Agnos now 5 strikeouts. 57 pitches thrown.
Fuentes this year, 3 home runs, 5 RBI. Pirates shaved their mustaches earlier this week, but we don't think Fuentes is going to let anybody touch Sampson's locks there. He let them flow after stealing second base and just happened to have that batter's helmet come off for a moment. Again, 2 outs. Agnos still paying attention to Bilamovic. Bilamovic this year, 6 of 10 attempts on the base paths and steals. Being held on by Brickhouse. Fuentes, the right side, able to hit behind the runner. From first to third goes Bilamovic. with 2 outs, the base hit from Ray Fuentes.
Good piece of hitting there from Fuentes. He muscled that one off the hands, not where he wanted to make contact, but was able to find the opening on the right side. Just muscles it through. You see Brickhouse stuck at first. Lloyd over at second, no chance of getting to it.
Agnos and the Pirates can still get out of the inning without any additional damage done. Just need 1 more out, and here's Derek Cherry, the DH.
But for Houston, how big would this be if they could tack on another run?
Cherry was the first of 4 straight Cougars to strike out. Facing Agnos for the first time. Let's see what kind of adjustments he can make here in the second go-around. And Cherry, the freshman out of Baytown, greater Houston area. I mean, eventually we'll just lump Louisiana in as the greater Houston area.
That day is coming quickly.
You can probably get to some places like Lake Charles a little quicker than you can somewhere on the west side. Sixth Cougar at the plate this inning. Began with a ground ball out from Lovelace, and then Jared Triolo able to just get one out the left center field wall. Since then, a walk, a strikeout, and a single. Bilamovich and Fuentes, your runners on the corners. There's Ray.
Agnos trying to pick up this final out, keep the damage. Just a 2-0 deficit.
Pirates have been constantly claiming pitcher of the week honors in the American. Obviously, Agnos and Kuchmaner have been a big part of that. That ball would not break. That's the second walk this inning for Houston, and is now the second batter to reach with 2 outs.
And for Agnos, after striking out the side in order in the second, things getting difficult here in the third. Bases loaded for the Cougars, a team that has had to come from behind their last 3 wins. They've spotted themselves a 2-0 lead.
Third baseman number 45, Brett Esau.
That gets us back to the Canadian, not technically part of the greater Houston area. Brett Esau out of Saskatchewan.
I spent the last 2 seasons at Frank Phillips College.
Esau 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. Again, Jake Agnos can still get out of this inning with no additional damage if he can retire a hitter here.
As you might imagine, Esau, the Canadian, coming from a hockey family. His father, a former NHL player.
We won't tolerate stereotypes like that, kid.
He's elected the diamond as opposed to the pond. Beautiful pitch there, Agnos. Great job. Esau just corkscrews himself down in the box.
Bases loaded. Bilamovich, the runner, on third. Fuentes on second. There you see Cherry at first. The offering coming up to Brett Esau. And just a nice job by Washer, the burden of keeping that ball in front of him.
Yeah, Washer's done a good job. For Agnos, consistency has been one of his keys this season. He has not had it thus far in this one.
7th batter of the inning for Houston. 2 outs, but with bases loaded for Brett Esau. That's a foul ball.
That's what you want to see from Esau in that situation. Swing the bat, make something happen. The last thing you want is to go down looking to win this inning, and that one a rocket down that third base line, just foul.
Brad Burkell's on deck. If the Cougars extend this inning, of course, that would mean the score would have to be updated by at least 1 run. Agnos got him. Bases loaded with 2 outs, and Jake Agnos comes through with his 5th strikeout, a timely one. But not before Jared Triolo finds some insurance. Cougars up by 2 after 3.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
Be smarter and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Outdoor needs. Academy Sports
Cougars find
Outdoors.
insurance. Jared Triolo's touched home twice today. As through 3, they are up by a pair. Gives us a chance to check back in with Coral Riggs.
Yeah, guys, something I mentioned that Coach Whitting said before this game that would be a key to success was start hot and stay hot, and they've started quite hot. And another thing he said before this game was not give ECU more than 3 outs an inning. Besides that minor hiccup in the first inning at second, they've given them no more than 3 each inning, and they're playing solid defense. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, I did not want to, quote, give them extra outs, including free passes and infield miscues. You know, Houston returned 7 of its 9 position starters from last year, so he had high expectations for the offense, but he'll admit Cougars' offense has been underperforming until recently, but pitching's been strong. Problem is the numbers of your staff don't look quite as good because they've been playing with so much pressure. We're already with early deficits in ball games. Not the case today. Lockhart once again on the mound with a lead.
Houston doing themselves a huge favor, getting up early, taking a lot of pressure off the shoulders of Lockhart.
Hoover will take that one for a strike.
You mentioned one of the bats that has been hot this year and continues to be so. Jared Triolo came into the game with a .307 average, 31 hits, and now 4 home runs on the season as he came up with a solo shot earlier.
Again, Lane Hoover was standing at the plate when Packard was caught stealing for the final out last inning. So a fresh count for him as he steps up to lead things off here in the 4th. Next time I am in North Carolina, I need to swing by his hometown of Lincolnton. Went to Lincolnton High School in Lincolnton, North Carolina.
2-3-4 up for the Pirates. They've got to make something happen. You've got the heart of the order. You've already seen Lockhart once. Make the adjustments. Get something going.
This will hang up for Thomas out in center. There's your first out of the 4th inning.
First baseman, number 42.
Lockhart is doing what he needs to do. He came out, started early, throwing strikes.
See, Todd Whitting, former Houston Cougar, wrapped up his career back in '95, now in his 9th year at the helm. Picked up his 300th win this past month. Congratulations to Coach. 5 straight seasons of 35 wins or better. Last year, that 38-win campaign. That one will get past Burkell. And you've got a runner on with 1 out as Spencer Brickhouse able to reach.
Burkell just tried to glove it, couldn't get his body behind it. And the result, Pirates with a base runner.
That's the 2nd error today by Brad Burkell at 2nd.
And that's a play that he has to make. At least knock it down and have a chance for a play at first. Instead, Brickhouse now aboard.
Yeah, now you have a runner on for your cleanup hitter, Burleson.
Burleson representing the tying run.
He went to East Lincoln High School over in Denver. These guys are all just pandering for the broadcaster to say some nice things. Mentioned came in with a .408 batting average, grounded out back in the first inning. Still leads the American in hitting at the moment. That'll get away, and it's 90 feet for Brickhouse.
Loveless couldn't locate it. Brickhouse able to easily advance to second in the situation, puts himself in scoring position. And we saw miscues. That's what got Houston on the board. Now ECU looking to do something similar with their first run.
That's a wild pitch from Lockhart. Spencer Brickhouse right there in the center of your shot. His head coach, Cliff Godwin, really thinks he's going to be a good prospect for the next level with his offense, his presence in the box. Right now, he's hoping his teammate Burleson can bring him around and they can cut into this deficit down by 2.
Burleson grounded out in the first.
I'm assuming Burleson did not shave with the rest of his teammates, as this one's going to hang up. Fuentes having some struggles, able to make the grab. What a diving catch by Ray Fuentes. And do they double off Brickhouse? They do. Ray Fuentes, the diving snag, able to pop up and get the inning-ending double play. One more look. What a gem.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
Scores 3 strikeouts in a row. Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueso from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Ray Fuentes, as he was getting into foul territory, realized he was playing with house money. But with that said, that's a dangerous area in that corner. A lot of guys would have pulled up, and arguably that would have been actually a fair ball had he not caught it.
What a play from the senior from Deer Park, and able to double up Brickhouse to end the inning. Just an incredible web gem from Fuentes, and the wherewithal to make the throw in for the double play.
Tough slide back in the bag for Brickhouse. Looks like Brickhouse, if he hadn't get caught up on that slide, would have been back in time, but you saw the right call on the replay. Well, just put a star by that in your scorebook. Something about playing with a lead. Shot in the arm from the defense. Brad Burkell would like a positive moment here at the plate. A couple of errors he's committed, neither one's proved costly for the Cougars, as he leads off against Jake Agnos.
Yeah, the freshman second baseman from Lindale shook out looking. Back in a 1-2-3 inning in the second, all the Cougars went down via strikeout.
Agnos has struck out 5 today. Can't backhand that one. Still a chance behind the bag. Brown in time. Turner Brown, not easy. Had to get behind the bag and fire a dart to Brickhouse.
What a job. Turner Brown read it perfectly. The throw on the money. Houston thought Burkell is going to get safely aboard as a leadoff batter, but Turner Brown had other thoughts.
That was just bad luck for Burkell with his stride not measuring out there, going over the bag, but not able to get a foot down.
Now the freshman center fielder Jonathan Thomas struck out swinging to end the second. Mentioned that freshman contingent in the starting lineup tonight for the Cougars.
Again, Todd Winning, we mentioned, against essentially in his lineup, 7 of his 9 starters returned from last year's squad, but you sprinkle in a couple of freshmen as well this year. A slow start this year for the Cougars, but have to be pleased so far today with 2 runs already against a guy like Agnos is something you need to be able to appreciate. And they're wanting some more.
And without a doubt, as quality as Agnos has been, particularly recently, maybe the best spell in his Pirates career in the last few weeks. Houston able to jump on him early.
That one stays high to the native of Fresno, Texas.
Coral mentioned Coach Whitting saying you've got to keep the pressure on. It's one thing to have a hot start, something Houston not accustomed to, but against a team as good as ECU, the only unbeaten in the American, you've got to keep the pressure on, and that means add runs when possible.
Remember, Houston made it to that Super Regional just a few years back in 2014, would wind up going to Austin, but great pitching that year. His pitching staff this year actually reminds him of that team several years back. The difference is, again, just the offense hasn't been there just yet. Starters have been getting to the 5th and 6th inning, keeping that bullpen fresh for the Cougars. And when you look at their record this year at 16-13, if they find 1 or 2 more runs in a variety of ball games, that could be a much more impressive win total already here early in conference play.
Yeah, they've had some tough losses in conference, putting them behind the 8 ball, so to speak. They understand the importance of this series. Hosting ECU this weekend at home. And good at bat here from Thomas, doing his job, seeing pitches. Much improved from the first time he came up to face Jake Agnos.
It's a lot easier to read the lips of pitchers and catchers back when there were no gloves in baseball.
I'll take your word for it.
You could also soak players, get them out by just throwing the ball at them. Instead, how about a good old-fashioned strikeout from Jake Agnos, as that is now his 7th of the ball game.
And a second and as many at-bats for Jonathan Thomas. Now, Agnos, when he's had trouble with batters, when batters have gotten aboard or he's had tough innings, he's been able to bounce back after giving up the run in the first, had a 1-2-3 second. See if he can do so again here in the 4th.
So Lovelace, the 9-hitter. Remember, led off last inning, and he'll keep this inning going. And of course, we'll give you a moment to remember who's on deck now, stepping up to the plate.
Lovelace jumps on the initial offering and lines a single through the left side past the shortstop Brown, wasting no time in the at-bat.
Only one man has touched home today for Houston, Jared Triolo, but he's done it twice. Singled in the first, homered last inning. And here is Jared Triolo with 2 outs, trying to keep the good times going with Lovelace on base. Rips into this one, but it's going to hang up for Packard. 1 pitch later, the inning is over. Agnos faces just 1 more than the minimum and keeps the Pirates within striking distance. They'll head into the top half of the 5th, still just down by 2 in Houston.
Powerful minds, strong in mind, strong in body. The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see,
then it needs to be okay
to seek help for injuries
we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
Related to mental health
and seeking help. End the stigma.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Pirates down by 2. Very few mistakes been made by Jake Agnos, but the Cougars have been able to capitalize for the most part with their opportunities. And Lyle Lockhart will come back on. Lockhart, well, the last couple of innings, he has only faced the minimum despite base runners reaching. He's gotten a double play and a runner caught stealing, so that's now 3 straight innings where he's only officially faced 3 batters.
And the junior lefty in a position he's unaccustomed to, pitching with a lead, and you can see it. He's pitching with confidence. This 2-0 advantage for the home side, and his counterpart Jake Agnos, he's doing his job as well. Now his 8th straight game with 7+ strikeouts. But Houston, well, and a lot of that because of Jared Triolo, able to take an early lead.
Lincoln Rose, Kent McConico, Coral Riggs with you here on the American Digital Network. Here's Turner Brown leading things off out of the 5 spot in this lineup. The 5, 6, 7 hitters all came up in the 2nd inning. They'd go down 1, 2, 3. A couple of ground balls and a fly out.
Brown led off the inning, grounding out to 3rd.
Pirates brought 4 batters to the plate in the 1st inning thanks to an infield error. But again, since then, even though they've had some base runners, they've yet to bring up more than 3 batters to the plate officially in any frame. As Brown faces Lockhart for a 2nd time today. Turner Brown, unfortunately for him, Fuentes read the scouting report. Only a couple strides forward, 1 away.
Nicely done there for Fuentes. Read it well coming off the barrel of the bat. Lockhart able to get ahead in the count, 0-2, picks up the 1st out of the inning.
Slightly less dramatic catch that time from Ray Fuentes.
What a play from Fuentes. He can cover some serious ground. We've already seen a web gem from the Cougs left fielder.
Here's Jake Washer, flied out to center field back in the 2nd for the 2nd out that inning. And off speed is in there for a strike.
You cannot overstate what it means to a pitcher to have a lead early in a game, especially against a team as talented as ECU. And you're seeing that from Lockhart. Just a different pitcher on the mound.
Washer from King, North Carolina. And a nice pitch from Lockhart.
Beautiful pitch there, just paints the bottom of the zone. Lockhart again able to get it up in the count, 0-2.
Well, if the Pirates are hoping that eventually Lockhart's day will be done and they can pounce on that bullpen, they'll be disappointed. Todd Winning has a really nice stopper, nice setup guy, and a good closer ready to go as long as his starting pitcher can do their job. And so far, Lockhart's been up to the task. Right now with a 2-run cushion. Here's the 1-2. Burkell's had some problems today on ground balls, but able to squeeze that one in on the fly.
And deuces the pop out there from Burkell at 2nd. Lockhart had a fantastic summer in the Cape Cod Baseball League, won the championship with the Wareham Gatemen. Those collegiate players, always a treat to be able to play in that summer league.
Going to bring up the senior Brady Lloyd. Nice steady player for Cliff Godwin over these years. A lot of quality at bats. Let's see if he can work that pitch count of Lyle Lockhart a little bit here. Just now approaching his 50th pitch of the ball game.
I was just about to mention that. Very economical Lockhart, and he's getting ahead. Last two batters, he's had 0-2 counts, up 0-1. Make it 0-2. Able to induce a pair of flyouts to Brown and Washer.
Now Lockhart's just faced one more than the minimum today. I'm going to say this, and half of our audience will cringe. He's allowed 2 base runners. Both of them were on errors.
I think I'm just going to let that one hang in the air.
Yeah.
Lloyd able to get back in the count, now 2-2.
Houston today, 2 runs on 4 hits. Brady Lloyd facing Lyle Lockhart a second time today. Grounded out to end the second, trying to extend this inning. Off the end of the bent, Triolo. And there's your first hit of the ball game for the Pirates. That'll bring the potential tying run to the plate.
Triolo deep in the hole at short. Just his second game starting at short this season. Didn't get a great break on it. You see the throw just a bit high. Didn't get that laser across the diamond. And good work from Lloyd, able to beat the throw down the first base line. Picks up the first ECU hit.
Here's Seth Cadell, the sophomore. He's your DH today, also your backup catcher at times for ECU. Well, ECU has only left 1 man on. They've had a couple of base runners retired.
Fuentes with that web gem, and then the double of Brickhouse at second ended the 4th.
Seth batting .237 this year. Gets around on that one, foul.
Sophomore out of Carthage, North Carolina.
Run on first, Lloyd. The pitch out. Jake Agnos and the Pirates hoping to take the diamond with at least their first run on the board, if not a lead erased for the Cougars. But Lockhart still just needs 1 out to get out of the inning.
Lloyd careful there at first, not straying far from the bag. Does not want to be picked off to end the inning. You see what a different pitcher Lockhart is with a runner aboard, I should say. Able to focus his full attention on the man in the box.
Lloyd with the first base hit today for the Pirates. And there's out number 3. So for just the second time today, the Pirates bring up 1 more than the minimum, but still no damage done. Lyle Lockhart pitching a 1-hitter with a 2-run advantage.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical, and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Well, Jake Agnos hasn't pitched poorly, but just a couple of pitches that he'd like to have back have resulted in Cougars runs ultimately, including Jared Triolo's insurance home run back in the third. His Pirates teammates at the plate have not been able to help with the comeback effort just yet. Here's Tyler Bielamovich. Could not get the bunt down in the first, did walk, but was stranded on third back in the third inning.
Houston, they've left 5 on base, just 2 left on base by ECU. But Agnos, as you said, by and large, he's done his job tonight. He's done what they wanted him to do. He's thrown strikes. He's gone at Cougar batters. Triolo has had success against him. Other success has been few and far between in that Cougar lineup. But ECU just been unable to get anything going against Lockhart.
Remember, Cougars loaded the bases after Triolo's homer, but Agnos was able to respond with his then 6th strikeout. He now has 7 for the ball game. And this ball, will it take a right turn? It does. That's a foul ball as Bielamovich trying to hit a bunt for a base hit.
Bielamovich walked on 4 pitches, his last at bat. Agnos, who's going after batters earlier, seems to be thinking a bit more as this game progresses. And as a pitcher, sometimes that's a recipe for disaster. You just want to get out there and fire strikes.
Remember, Sunday's game has been moved up to tomorrow for a doubleheader that'll start at 1 o'clock Central. So the Cougars, who already had a borderline Major League Baseball schedule of 10 games in 13 days, now 10 games in 12 days. This is game number 8 of those 10 after playing 2 midweek non-conference matchups. Cougars have dropped the first 2 weekend series. UConn and Memphis both took 2 of 3 at the expense of the Cougars, who won Saturday against UConn, Sunday against Memphis. It was really a couple of home runs for the Tigers that helped them escape with some victories. This will be a tough toss, over and not in time. Despite the plea of your unofficial umpire, Tyler Bielamovich, he is out on the bang-bang play. Ryder Giles with enough on that right arm.
And good work from the freshman on the hot corner, Ryder Giles. A great scoop, and the throw just in the nick of time.
And just like that, leadoff batter is retired. Cougars have not scored in this game other than the first and third innings with Jared Triolo. Joe Davis, if you were to tell Jake Agnos and the Pirates Joe would go 0 for 2 to start the ball game, I think they'd be pretty pleased. But the Pirates bats haven't woken up yet. A fly out and a strikeout looking from Joe.
Yeah, the strikeout looking, he knew it, not pleased.
And you saw the slight shift with Lloyd favoring second base. And there's out number 2.
So far, Davis yet to make an impact in this one.
Left fielder number 1.
Got to think for Houston, that's just a matter of time.
Gives way to Ray Fuentes, who's had a chance to run the bases twice today. Once on an error, would steal a base, then would single. He's been stranded in scoring position twice today. One of, I should say, 2 of 5 runners left on base for the Cougars.
Fuentes has had a complete game. You pair what he's done with the plate with his performance in left field. Fuentes, the third, has been outstanding for Houston.
Again, Ray, the senior out of Deer Park, Texas. Mentioned the mascot's the deer. The women are the lady deer.
Good to know.
In case you were thinking it's all about the doe. Agnos seeing Fuentes for a third time today.
Fuentes, impressive both on and off the diamond. All conference, all academic team, both in 2017 and 2018.
Count will even up. We talk about Mustache March, but the Pirates year-round, over 700 hours of community service after those hurricanes on the coast, helped gut 3 houses, regular visitors over the Children's Hospital. On the road this weekend, Fuentes will fight this one off to right. As Burleson backtracking, able to snag that one at least. Had it gotten to the wall, we'd be talking about extra bases. It's a 2-out single for Fuentes, 2 for 3 today.
And another fantastic job at the plate from Fuentes. Takes this one high in the zone, tailing away from him, still able to put it in play. Fuentes having himself a game tonight. And you look at that pitch count from Agnos, almost double what his counterpart Lockhart is. Agnos nearing 100 pitches, Lockhart just above 50.
Yeah, Lockhart's just faced 2 more than the minimum through 5 innings, whereas we've only seen Agnos work a 3-up, 3-down back in the second when he struck out the side. He faced 5 in the first, 7 in the third, 4 more in the fourth, and here's your 4th batter of the inning here in the 5th, Derek Cherry, your DH. A strikeout and a walk today for Derek, out of the 5 spot in this lineup.
Fuentes batting cleanup has done his job. We'll see if Cherry can come up with his first hit.
Cougars, your back-to-back regular season champions. Now 3 regular season titles and 2 tournament titles for the Cougars in this brief history in the American. Of course, it was the Pirates last year who had claimed the tournament title after going 14-10 in conference last year. Cougars were 16-8, 2 games better. Cougars won their first game in Clearwater, but would lose. I should say lost their first game in Clearwater. Had a tough battle. They won their next 3 facing elimination, including a win against these Pirates. But ECU would finally hand them their final loss in that semifinal. 2 outs, 1 on for Derek Cherry facing Agnos. That'll get through. Fuentes will be able to move 180 feet. Runners on the corners, but still 2 away.
Cherry does his job, a 2-out single. More importantly, able to advance Fuentes on to third. A sharply hit ball through the right side. Fuentes on a horse, easily into third.
So Derek Cherry and Ray Fuentes both with 2-out base hits. And Jake Agnos is going to get a visit. Let's see if that is it for your Friday night starter for the Pirates.
They wanted him to go through at least 5. That was the goal.
When we come back, we'll introduce you to the new right arm on the mound for ECU as the night is done for Jake Agnos. He'll leave with Houston up by 2 with 2 outs and 2 men on.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
Well, we misinformed you. I could have sworn we saw a motion to the bullpen for the righty, but Jake Agnos, they have confidence he can find the 3rd out here on a night where he's just allowed 2 runs, but Pirates bats have been quiet against his counterpart Lockhart.
There is movement in the Pirates bullpen. Men warming up, and for the time being, Agnos stays on the hill.
Well, one of the guys Jake has certainly had success against today is Brett Esau. A couple of strikeouts, as Esau 0 for 2 today.
Esau struck out swinging to end the 3rd.
This should do it. Brickhouse squeezes it in. Cougars will strand 2 more. No damage done. Jake Agnos still in the ball game for the Pirates, who will come back to the plate for the 6th inning. Ryder Giles to lead things off, then the top of the order for ECU.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly, we've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further, let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express, every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Cougars had a chance to give Lyle Lockhart a little more insurance there, stranding runners on the corners. 7 runners left on base today for the Cougars, but at the moment, they'll cherish the 2 that have come home. Jared Triolo in the first, and then the solo shot by Triolo to score himself back in the 3rd. Ever since, it has been 2-0 as the Pirates are just now wrapping up their 2nd trip through the lineup. Ryder Giles due up for a 2nd time, grounded out back in the 3rd, as Lyle Lockhart has just faced 2 more than the minimum. You have Bryant Packard and Lane Hoover due up next.
Base runners have been few and far between for ECU. See if they can change that, get something going at the plate. Just 56 pitches thrown by Lyle Lockhart.
Well, even if Ryder Giles never had a base hit in his career, pretty confident Cliff Godwin would have him in the lineup. He's so valuable on the defensive side. Your 3rd baseman tonight, played shortstop in club ball with great range.
And again, Lockhart able to get ahead in the count, now 0-2. That has been the ticket for the lefty hurler for the Cougars.
Ryder, a freshman, really mature. Doesn't let his emotions very much focused on getting on here, as ECU just once today has been able to get the leadoff man on. That was back in the 1st inning. They'd wind up stranding Bryant Packard 90 feet away from giving the Pirates a lead. Remember, he reached on an error back then. A couple of errors tonight from Houston's defense. Neither has been costly. Offering to Giles.
Lockhart just losing that one. Giles, impressive freshman. See if he can start the comeback for ECU.
Throws him. Giles caught looking. That might be the first strikeout today for Lyle Lockhart.
It is indeed. First strikeout for Lockhart. You considering how dominant he's been, what he's been able to do. Just the first K for Lockhart. Giles goes down looking.
A guy who lost the no-hit bid last inning, 2 outs in. And he's been letting his defense back him up. Ground ball outs, a few fly outs sprinkled in as well. Here's Bryant Packard, who's reached twice today. Reached on the infield error back in the 1st. Again, reached in the 3rd before he would be caught stealing. They were willing to gamble with 2 outs with him running, knowing that they wouldn't lose much going into the next inning. But now up to the plate with nobody on and 1 away. Nice swing up the middle, a base hit for Bryant Packard, his first of the day.
Packard, a smooth swing, just waiting on that one. Didn't try to do too much. And right back up the middle for the 1-out single.
Packard, after being injured the opening couple weeks of the season, just now starting to find his stride health-wise. Again, the Preseason All-American, last year's Conference Player of the Year. What a sophomore campaign that was.
Named to 5 preseason All-American teams, Golden Spikes Award watch list, American Player of the Year, preseason watch list as well.
Batting for East Carolina is number 35, Bryson Worrell.
So they're going to hit for the freshman Hoover here, as this is Bryson Worrell, sophomore, regularly a sub in the outfield. Worrell first pitch swinging. Bielamovic has a read on it. And 2 away.
Worrell taking the first pitch, tried to drive it, but just too much air underneath it. Plenty of time for Bielamovic to get there.
And that doesn't put much of a dent into the pitch count of Lockhart. I mean, this has been Lyle Lockhart's night. Figure the Pirates would love to send him a going away party, but just a little over 60 pitches in. That wind narrowly blowing out where Jared Triello hit his home run back in the 3rd inning to make it a 2-0 ball game. We've been there since then. You see some of the accolades over this years for this Houston Cougars program. That most recent regional last year. Of course, the Pirates, 29 trips to the NCAA tournament, 15 in the last 20 years, mentioned earlier. They themselves 2-time champs here in the American. Even won that NAIA national title back in 1961. We did not have the broadcast rights to that here on the American Digital Network.
And as dominant as Lockhart has been, this is just a 2-run Houston lead. Brickhouse represents the tying run at the plate.
2 pitches in the final 2 outs of the inning. Burkell able to squeeze it in on the fly. 4 Pirates come to the plate. 1 left on base. And the Cougars still with a shutout midway through the 6th.
Bernie scores! 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate the 2nd championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Powerful minds, strong in mind,
Strong in body. The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help,
For injuries we can see,
then it needs to be okay
to seek help for injuries.
we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
Related to mental health
and seeking help.
End the stigma.
Little action in the bullpen, a lot of action on the berm with some local Little League fans. Jake Agnos, your starter for the Pirates. That's a no-brainer on a Friday night. You put him on the mound, the lefty. He is still on the mound. He has eclipsed 100 pitches, sitting at 102 right now. And again, he has not pitched poorly, allowing 2 runs on 6 Cougar hits. He has forced the Cougars to leave a lot of runners as he's remained composed, even with men on the base paths behind him. We'll see just how much of a favor he can do this bullpen for the Pirates whenever they do emerge. This is Brad Burkell, who is able to squeeze in that line drive for out number 3 to end the last half inning.
Cougars, they've left 7 stranded. That's the number that stands out. Agnos now into triple digits in the pitch count.
Burkell 0 for 2 today, strikeout and ground out.
Thought there was a possibility they may have taken Agnos out earlier. They've elected to keep him out there on the bump. We'll see how short his leash is.
Yeah, we saw a motion to the bullpen, and it is rare. that you would see that gesture. It's not that Jake Agnos had to argue to stay in, as he just stood there and listened to the instructions. You obviously have a lot of confidence in him, but over 100 pitches now and a leadoff walk for the Cougars, as the Cougars now, for believe it or not, just the second time today, have their leadoff man on.
Center fielder number 32, Jonathan Thomas.
See just the one right arm in the bullpen right now warming up, and that is for ECU, Cam Colmore.
Man, you just wonder how much Agnos has left in the tank. A leadoff walk on 4 pitches.
As a high pitch, Thomas was determined to get the bat on it after he has struck out twice today.
Bottom of the order, 7, 8, and 9 up for Houston.
The bottom third of this lineup is 1 for 6 today against Jake. Most of the damage being done by the top 5 in the lineup. That pitch outside.
Thomas went down swinging in his last appearance at the plate, but a good at bat, saw a lot of pitches, fouled a lot off, much improved from the first time he went up. Also a strikeout swinging.
Burkell on first, the third batter walked today by Agnos, 7 strikeouts. So yet another game with 7 more strikeouts for Agnos. And you imagine the bunt now removed for Thomas with 2 strikes.
And Thomas is trying to put that one down, doing everything he can to advance the runner into scoring position.
7 straight games for Agnos with 7 or more strikeouts.
For Houston, the focus on scratching across another. Trying to figure out a way to make it a 3-0 lead.
Runner going. Thomas not just protecting the runner, but protecting himself. Pitch strike, fought off foul. Kyle Lovelace is on deck. Barring a double play, we'll see Jared Triolo for a 3rd time today come up to the plate. Pardon me, for a 4th time today. Cougars have essentially made one more trip through their lineup than the Pirates have. Trying to bunt with a pair of strikes, and that'll be yet another variety of strikeout today for Jake Agnos.
Agnos, his 3rd strikeout of Thomas in as many at-bats. Except the first out of the inning. Thomas did everything he could to lay down a bunt, unable to do so, and Burkell still at first.
Brings up Lovelace, 1 for 2 today. A ground out and a single. Was left stranded back in the 4th inning.
Opportunity for Houston's catcher in this situation. Already has a hit.
Able to get the bunt down. Agnos fields his position, and the underhanded toss there in time. So Burkell will move to scoring position, but with 2 away.
Yeah, great job from Lovelace. Well-placed sacrifice bunt. Agnos off the bump. Little flip over. Good job as Burkell now at 2nd.
Pirates were not necessarily expecting the bunt. You saw Brickhouse was not coming up on that ball. He was able to cover the bag for the throw instead of Lloyd having to come over from 2nd.
Lovelace does his job as now it's back to the top of the order for the Cougars, and the big bat, at least tonight, the former Jared Triolo, the shortstop at the plate.
All right, let's try this again. When we come back, we'll introduce you, if you've been paying attention, to Cam Colmore, your 2nd pitcher of the day for the ECU Pirates.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it, or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, This ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is the means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Jake Agnos goes 5 2/3, matches his season high tonight. 4 times this year has gone, when I say season high number of pitches, he 4 times this year has thrown 100 or more, struck out 8. He's still responsible for Brad Burkell, the runner on second. Here is Cam Colmore, first man out of the bullpen.
Colmore, the right-handed redshirt junior out of Winterville, North Carolina, a 2.00 ERA, record of 1-0, 9 innings pitched on the season, has given up 8 hits, has walked 5, struck out 11, batters averaging .211 against Colmore.
Well, I'm sure Agnos is disappointed that he comes out in the 6th. Can't really hang too much on him. He could have pitched a one-hitter of his own, but if your team hasn't put any runs on the board. Let's see if Triolo was expecting an intentional walk or not. Why would you intentionally walk him? Well, he has the lone home run tonight. He's scored both of the Houston runs, and now, there you go. Again, we saw that rule just a few years ago. No need to throw 4 awkward pitches, 60 feet 6 inches. You just point, and he'll head down 90 feet.
I think just about everybody agrees that is a good rule, increases pace of play. Fan-friendly, to say the least, but now Houston 2 aboard. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th.
Remember, Belamovich was robbed of an infield single by the arm of Giles at third last inning. He's walked, been stranded on third. Officially 0 for 2 today. Up the middle. That's your second baseman, Lloyd, ranging over to the opposite side of the bag. And there's your 3rd out. So they intentionally walk Triolo. And the Cougars will strand a pair. They get Belamovich on the ground out. Brady Lloyd showing off the range.
Scores 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American. powered by determination.
Well, when you have a 3-game series that's just going to span 2 days, that's going to put a premium on relief pitching. And if your starter can chew up as many innings as possible, like Lyle Lockhart is poised to do now coming into the 7th inning, you'll take it.
Without a doubt, Lockhart has been outstanding on the hill. He's done everything asked of him and then more. The interesting thing is just 1 strikeout tonight for Lockhart. He's induced a lot of ground outs and flyouts. He started early with that 2-0 lead. He's been pitching with confidence.
That's a big reason why his pitch count has remained so low. Trusting the defense behind him. Pirates, obviously still a winnable ball game. Alec Burleson, your cleanup hitter, 0 for 2 today, was robbed of perhaps a base hit right down the line by Ray Fuentes, part of that double play in the 4th inning. It's the first time we have seen Burleson at the plate since then. 0 for 2 today.
Part of the order 4, 5, and 6 up for ECU. Burleson, Brown, Washer.
Yeah, combined 0 for 6 today. But for a lot of hitters, it's that 3rd time through the lineup that you see some adjustments being made.
Lockhart, the key to his success has been getting ahead of batters. He hasn't found himself behind in the count very many times.
Again, game 2 this weekend starts tomorrow at 1 o'clock Central. The first game of a now double header tomorrow due to some weather being expected on Sunday. Obviously, this field does hold up well, though, anytime you do have rain, with it being the artificial surface. No need for a tarp. Burleson with 2 strikes. None of the middle infielders want to stay on their side.
Yeah, that time Kobe Highland, who came in there at second. Highland,
Shortstop number 8, Turner Brown.
Another Canadian out of Spruce Grove, Alberta.
Turner Brown 0 for 2. Similar stat line today for Pirates against Lyle Lockhart. Lyle did not concede the first hit to a Pirate until the 5th inning. Pirates would add another base hit in the 6th from Packard to go with the 1 from Lloyd. Now still looking for their first runs. As that one fell.
Still plenty of time left in this one. Got to imagine the 3rd time through the lineup. Necessary changes have to be made at this juncture. They've left 3 aboard. They've had runners on base. ECU just unable to scratch one across.
Able to get the call on the outer edge.
Beautiful pitch there. Lockhart paints the outside corner.
On deck, Jake Washer in the hole. Brady Lloyd, if either Brown or Washer can reach. 1 away, nobody on. Next offering to Turner Brown. And the strike zone not quite as generous as Livan Hernandez enjoyed back in the day against the Braves.
Again, looking for that outside corner, just too far outside. Lockhart's done a good job mixing things up, going east and west, more than north and south.
Back in the box, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Turner Brown, and now it's Lockhart. A little gamesmanship. Got a ground ball out a moment ago to retire Burleson for the 3rd time. And this count will hold at 2-2.
Brown staying alive in the at-bat, able to foul off that pitch. One thing ECU batters need to do, they need to see more pitches in their at-bats. Foul pitches off. Just 72 pitches thrown for Lockhart already here in the top of the 7th.
One away, nobody on, the 2-2 again. Brown able to whip around on that one. Fights off another one. I don't know why they put benches in dugouts.
Rarely used.
You want to sell some luxury seats, go ahead and install some there. Again, the 2-2. Lovelace back to the infield. And we'll do it again. Scoreboard operator has been getting past several pitches off. No need to update that count. This will be the 4th pitch coming with a 2-2 count to the name of Turner Brown.
Good at bat from Brown, fouling off pitches. Waiting for something in his zone, something that he can drive. A patient at bat from the senior.
This will be playable. Well, it was a nice at bat from Turner Brown, but in the end, that pitch count still in the 70s for Lyle Lockhart. And they're now 2 outs, nobody on.
Yeah, the result the same. Brown doing a good job seeing pitches, fouling off pitches, but just flies out to right, unable to find a soft spot.
You know, the one time I thought I had any concern for Lyle Lockhart was, ironically, when Houston brought 7 guys to the plate. Thought we've seen a lot of pitchers over the years, both at the college and the professional level, who are just sitting on the bench for so long in the dugout while their team keeps bringing bats to the plate that they lose their rhythm. But not the case tonight for Lyle.
No, Lockhart's been able to keep it and haven't had a lot of hard hit balls off of Lockhart tonight. There's a single from Lloyd back in the 5th, and then Burleson dropped that one on the line, and ultimately a phenomenal catch from Ray Fuentes III. But aside from that, not a lot of hard hit balls coming off the junior lefty.
Jake Washer trying to run the bases for the first time today. A fly out and a pop out so far. 0 for 2. Here in the top half of the 7th inning in Houston. Lincoln Rose, Kip McConico, Coral Riggs with you here on the American Digital Network. A reminder, we'll be in Florida for all the early rounds of the conference tournament, a tournament that both of these programs have been able to claim the trophy over the years, including ECU last year. The 2-1 to Washer. In your new shortstop, Kobe Highland. The glove of Davis. 3 up, 3 down, and that bodes well for whether or not we'll see Lyle Lockhart again on the mound in the 8th. But first, the Cougars bring their bats. Davis, Fuentes, Cherry, due up.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
Oh, the Joe Davis cheering section looking for a reason to erupt. Joe is due up here in the 7th inning. He'll lead things off, followed by Fuentes and Cherry, who has Davis 0 for 3 today with a fly-out, strikeout, ground out. Just for variety, we'll see if he can torment a pitch. First time today, he's not facing Jake Agnos. It's Cam Colmore in for his first full inning of relief. Remember, Cam came in, and the first thing they asked him to do was intentionally walk Triolo, who's since exited the ball game, and Tyler Bilamovich would ground out for the final out.
If you would have told Houston fans that Davis wouldn't be a factor, that they would be leading 2-0 in the bottom of the 7th, I think they'd scratch their heads, but they would certainly take it.
"12 home runs for Joe this year. Conservative swing.
One more right at him on the first pitch. Davis getting his money's worth.
That previous swing may have delayed the weather that was supposed to blow in until Monday.
Davis struck out, went down looking in the 3rd, finds himself behind in the count 0-2.
Fuentes on deck, Cherry in the hole. And again, the shift.
That's a great play from Lloyd at second. That one coming off the mound. Took a bit of a hop. No trouble for Lloyd. Able to get there, scoop, and the throw in plenty of time.
You had Giles, Brown, and Lloyd all on the left side of the infield. Here's Ray Fuentes. He has reached base every time he's come to the plate. Once on an error, and a couple of times on singles. He's been stranded on second twice, stranded on third 2 innings ago.
Fuentes certainly the best of the Cougars at the plate in this one. What a job he's done, the senior from Deer Park. He and his junior left-handed pitcher, Lockhart, they have been the cream of the crop tonight for the home team. Large part of their 2-0 lead.
Yeah, the Pirates, remember, they have not had a runner in scoring position since the 4th inning when Fuentes made that diving catch right along the line down left field, and they were able to double off the base runner. Since then, no Pirate has advanced past first. Brown boots it. Fuentes is on for the 4th time today. 2nd time thanks to an infield miscue.
Sometimes better to be lucky than good. Fuentes got himself aboard and will do so here with the error on Brown at short.
Talk about this 10-game win streak on the line for ECU. 6-0 start in conference, but their last outing, the win over Duke midweek. Both these teams were perfect during the week, bringing some momentum in to this evening's contest.
A pair of 1-run games, wins for Houston. Victories over Lamar 8-7, and then a 5-4 victory in a walk-off fashion over FIU on Wednesday.
Derek Cherry, a single and a walk so far. Will this ball get down? It does. Burleson reads the hop well, and Fuentes, for the moment, has to hold up at second.
Cherry does his job. 2 hits in his last 2 appearances at the plate.
Shortstop number 3, Kobe.
Now the Cougars in business with 2 on, just 1 out. As good as ECU is, Houston knows what an insurance run or 2 could mean here in the latter stages.
Kobe Highland, again, when he came into the ball game, it was for Brett Esau, which moved Triolo over to third.
Highland out of Alberta, Canada, transfer from Iowa Western.
Esau was 0 for 3 on the day. This is Highland's first trip to the plate. Again, one of the Canadians on this roster.
Highland generally the starting shortstop has 27 starts there at short. Triolo made just his second tonight.
So Highland inserted in the 6th spot in the lineup off the bench tonight. Triolo remains your leadoff hitter. Right now, Highland, the 4th batter we've seen this inning against Colmore. A ground out, infield error, and a single. There you see Ray Fuentes dancing around second. So just 3 pitchers used between both of these teams. That bodes well for things staying in line. Tomorrow's doubleheader. If Colmore can get out of this jam and keep the rest of the bullpen intact.
Highland looking to make an immediate impact.
Now, Kit, you and I cover plenty of sports where you're limited on how many international players you can play on any given night, but it's just a coincidence that one Canadian comes in for the other here for the Cougars. Highland in for Esau.
Esau just his 2nd start of the season there at the hot corner. Unable to get anything going at the plate. Triolo back at 3rd, where he has 139 career starts for the Cougars.
2 on for Houston with 1 away. Highland under it. Lloyd says he has it. 2 gone.
Highland hit it a mile high here in the Space City, but no trouble. Lloyd, plenty of time to get underneath it for the 2nd out.
And there was the signal for the infield fly rule. 2 away for Brad Burkell. Walked last inning, stranded on 2nd. Freshman getting the start at 2nd base. And Colmore with a nifty pitch.
If Colmore is able to get out of this, not conceding a run, and that would be a big boost for ECU.
Pirates have their bottom 3rd of the order due up, which would mean you turn the lineup over at least in time for the 9th inning, as Pirates are down to their final 6 outs. 2 away here, that one a tad tall. Again, ECU bats have been limited to just 2 hits. How good has the baseball been for ECU over the years? The last time they were held to 2 hits was 2016 in that Super Regional against Texas Tech.
Gives you an idea of how good not only ECU has been the last few years, but how good Houston has been tonight. Pitching of Lockhart.
I'll say that did not hit Burkell. But I mean, you're going to have some wins and some losses where you just muster a couple of hits and have a few things go your way. But the fact that it's been a few years.
Yeah, Coach Godwin, just an incredible job his 5th year there at the helm of his alma mater.
After some stops at LSU and Ole Miss. Just a tad high to the number 7 hitter with 2 on, 2 out.
We'll see if Burkell can draw a walk. That one just off the mark. Colmore now with a 3-1 count.
Washer doing his best to frame it. The offering from Colmore. That one quickly got in on Burkell for the walk, his 2nd today.
Bases juiced for the Cougars. 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Their center fielder, the freshman Jonathan Thomas, steps to the plate.
Well, Thomas today has struck out 3 times. It was last inning that he squared around a bunt with 2 strikes. Could not get one down.
Well, in this situation, Thomas, he's not going to be bunting. They're going to let him swing away. We'll see if he can put one in play.
And you see the conversation as Godwin has come out of the dugout, presumably for a defensive change.
Thomas, the fastest player on the team, primarily been used as a defensive replacement late in games, but gets to start in center field tonight. He can cover a ton of ground. His father played football, ran track at Baylor, 10 years in the NFL. His mother ran track across town for the Rice Owls.
Well, Ryder Giles is going to go from the hot corner to the mound. The day for Cam Colmore is done. He'll leave here in the 7th inning with bases loaded and 2 outs. Pirates trying to get out of a jam and stay within 2.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Well, the new man in the equation is your new third baseman for ECU, Nick Barber. That's because Ryder Giles has gone to get his pitching mitt, and he's got that new leather on, and now back on the mound as Kit Ryder Giles is the third pitcher of the night for the Pirates.
He is indeed the freshman righty, another Tar Heel State native. No ERA. Just 11 1/3 inning pitch. He's given up 5 hits. Walked 1, struck out 8 batters, averaging 125 against Giles.
We mentioned nobody was happier that Jake Agnos' day was finally done than Jonathan Thomas, who was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. He would not face Cam Colmore, who has loaded the bases here, but with 2 outs, see if Giles can get out of this jam. I don't know, there might be something to be said for having Giles on the mound after he's already kind of felt the rhythm of this inning over there at third base. Let's see if he can get that final out.
Task for Giles, straightforward but not simple.
Familiar look from Thomas squaring around.
Sidewinder comes up with the second strike.
Ray Fuentes reached on the shortstop's error. Derek Cherry with a single, and Brad Burkell the walk. 3 runners with 2 outs here in the 7th inning. Two and 2. Kyle Lovelace is on deck, 1 for 3 today for the Cougars. And then Jared Triolo, who has not been retired other than that 4th inning. A single, a home run, and a walk. 2-2 from Giles. And a rough night for the number 8 hitter for the Cougars. For the second time tonight, the Pirates get out of a bases-loaded jam. Giles comes in relief, and Harrods 3, Strands 3, still within 2.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Powerful minds, strong in mind, strong in body. The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see, then it needs to be okay
to seek help for injuries
we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help. End the stigma.
Well, we've seen now 3 pitchers for the Pirates. For the Cougars, due to lack of originality, they're just going to stick with Lyle Lockhart for now.
Lack of originality or just flat out working. Lockhart, he has been humming along, the junior lefty, and getting it done. He was spotted a lead early on, pitching with confidence. He's been outstanding. How's number 24 for the home team?
79 pitches from Lyle as he enters his 8th inning of work. Houston gave him a lead after the first inning, would give him insurance after the third. It's been 2-0 ever since then, as Lockhart has surrendered 2 base hits. Houston's committed a couple of errors behind him, but so far no damage done.
He was able to retire the Pirates in order in the 7th. Third time he's been able to do that in the ball game.
Here's Brady Lloyd in the bottom third of the lineup, coming around for just the 3rd time today. Lloyd, Cadell, and Giles. Lloyd singled his last time up back in the 5th to break up the no-hitter. You still have time to send your angry tweets at Vince Scully.
Yeah, the fans generally make a bigger deal of that than the players do. All the players I've talked to at Collegiate, even in the bigs, they say, we don't really care. We're not too worried about that.
As this one's going to get over the head of Davis, drop in for a base hit. Lloyd is 2 for 3 today. How about that for the number 7 hitter? And he sparks some optimism here for the Pirates.
Good stuff there from Lloyd, leading off. Drops a little Texas leaguer into shallow right, just bloops that one right in the Bermuda Triangle. Nobody able to get to it.
As he spoils the 2 hitter. Here's Seth Cadell. And pardon me, this is where Barber will make his debut in the lineup.
Barber at 3rd, the junior from Apopka, Florida.
Yeah, that DH dissolved with Giles moving from 3rd to pitcher.
Barber, a .250 average, 7 hits and 28 at-bats this season.
Cougars still with their lefty, which means it's going to be tough to get much of a lead over there at first.
Barber's drawn 2 walks, struck out 10 times.
He represents the tying run. Again, both starting pitchers pitched well, and this is a reminder, as well as Lockhart has pitched, he only has that 1 insurance run to work with. So still a tight affair with no room really to have an off inning.
Barber 3 RBI. What a time this would be for the 4th.
As they are not going to get Lloyd leaning. Well, how about if Ryder Giles now as your pitcher for the Pirates, due up next, became a hero with a couple of runners on. Runner going. Good throw. Easily had him beat. Kyle Lovelace throws a strike as Highland just has to sit back and patiently wait.
A bullet from behind the plate on the money and waiting for the runner. Burkell there.
Yeah, it was Burkell covering the bag.
And the freshman, he was waiting for Lloyd. Now the base is cleared.
That's a couple runners caught stealing today by Lovelace. Boy, that's a gamble.
You can understand doing it at this stage of the game. Runners, especially in scoring position, been difficult to come by, but Lovelace, when he's been tested, he's proven himself. He has a cannon.
They're clarifying that last pitch was a strike, as sometimes tough to keep track of when a catcher then throws down. And there's a one pitch later, out number 2. Boy, what could have been this inning and could still be, but Pirates may have run themselves out of an opportunity.
Just the second strikeout of the ball game for Lockhart. Quickly 2 outs in the inning and no one aboard.
And a rare strikeout there from Lockhart, his second. So here's Ryder Giles now, nobody on for your third pitcher of the day for ECU. First to swing a bat today, and no damage done there with nobody on.
Giles really needs to do something to help his own cause, see if he can start a 2-out rally. Rare instances, Lockhart has fallen behind in the count.
Four-pitch walk.
Giles does his job. Heads to first.
Left fielder number 18, Bryant Packard.
Let's see how much attention they pay Giles, knowing that at the moment he's scheduled to step back on the mound the next half inning. See if they keep him honest here, or if they just focus on Bryant Packard. As, again, all of a sudden your defending player of the year in this conference is going to be stepping up to the plate representing the tying run in this ball game.
For ECU, this is who you want at the plate. He's gotten aboard every time, an error hit by a pitch and a single.
Team meeting for the Cougars on the mound. Reason for this delay, as they're going to talk things over. Again, Todd Whitting's staff this year: Terry Rooney, Ryan Schatzberger, and Caleb Barker. And Ryan Broussard's going to invite himself to the gathering in a moment.
The Cougars, if they're able to come away with a victory here in game 1 of this series, that would be massive confidence boost and handing ECU their first loss in conference this season, but that is a long ways off.
See Tristan Bayless along with Fred Villarreal out there. Villarreal, your ERA leader in the American. Really has been the most used reliever for the Cougars this year. Been a brilliant season for Fred. He would potentially come in a save situation. But here's Bryant Packard with a runner on and 2 outs. Remember, you had a leadoff single from Brady Lloyd, but he was caught stealing, and a pitch later, a strikeout of Nick Barber. Giles is on with the 4-pitch walk. First time he's had a chance to run the bases. And that leaves some hope here in the 8th inning as the Pirates essentially down to their final 4 outs of the ball game. Can Lockhart wrap it up here in the 8th? 6 straight balls thrown by Lockhart.
Lovelace again solid behind the plate as he has been all game long. All of a sudden Lockhart having trouble locating the zone.
Again, this is where it just being a 2-run ball game affects probably what Lyle is comfortable with here. Slim margin for error. Packard's been on 3 times today. And 2-1 the count.
Good stuff there. Lockhart able to come back to pick up the strike.
Bryant led off this ball game, reaching on the infield error, would be stranded on 3rd. No Pirate has been on 3rd base since then. He reached in the 3rd, was caught stealing, singled in the 6th, so would be left stranded. Left side, fair ball. Triolo just unable to get the glove of Davis in time. There's 2 on with 2 out.
Packard again able to get aboard, does his job quickly out of the box. A difficult play. Triolo, bang, bang play at first. Packard able to beat it out, safely aboard.
Infield base hit for Packard.
That's as close as it gets.
And so, batting where we would have seen Worrell for ECU. This is, this is Bryson Worrell.
So Worrell, the tying run aboard. He represents the go-ahead run.
Second visit, that'll do it for Lyle Lockhart. He leaves the tying run on base as he goes 7 2/3. When we come back, we'll introduce you to one of the top arms in all of the American.
Bernie scores 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate the 7th championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is the means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with 1 drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Well, the first time the Cougars dip into the bullpen, it is for their closer, Fred Villarreal, the junior out of Brownsville. He leads the American in ERA. The most often used reliever this year by Todd Whitting, the unofficial president of the Fred Villarreal fan club.
Villarreal, a 1.38 ERA, record of 3-1, 6 saves on the year, 32 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 21 hits, 8 runs. Has walked 8, struck out 28. Batters averaging 183 against Villarreal.
Todd Whitting's expectations for Fred when he recruited him out of South Texas in high school were sky high, and Fred has lived up to those expectations. Hardest worker on the team, according to his head coach. Fantastic shape. And here he is, needing 4 outs. 1 to get out of the jam here with 2 on as he faces Worrell.
Villarreal just concerned with retiring Worrell, picking up the final out of this inning. Worrell representing the go-ahead run.
A couple of singles, a walk and a single. Reflects the current base runners. We have had 2 hits this inning for ECU, but remember Brady Lloyd was caught stealing. This has been a 2-out rally now with a walk and a single from Giles and Packard. See, Giles runs with that protective mitt on his right hand. Also wants to protect that hand for if he comes back out to pitch the bottom of the 8th. Giles on second, Packard on first. Highland. Fred Villarreal comes in, no sweat. Cougars 2-run lead still intact. They'll bring their bats what they hope to be for the final time in the bottom half of the 8th inning.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
Number 21, Thomas Francisco. Number
2-run affair
at third base.
on this
Nick Barber will move to
weekend night now here in Houston. Lincoln Rose, Kit McConico, Coral Riggs with you. Stay tuned, whether it be in an inning or another 10 innings. Whenever this game comes to a conclusion, Coral will have a chat with the Whitting head coach and one of the top players tonight. Cougars at the moment have a couple candidates, but Pirates still have 3 outs to work with. First, they need to get through this bottom half of the 8th inning, as we have Kyle Lovelace 1 for 3 today out of the 9 spot, stepping up to lead off the 8th inning. Fred Villarreal would be the man we expect to see on the mound again in the 9th for Houston. Still in the save situation. Ryder Giles was among the runners left on by the Pirates. He comes in now for his first full inning of work in relief.
Yeah, see if Giles is able to retire these Cougars in order, at the very least, not giving them another run, keep it a 2-run affair. Houston got 2 across early. Status quo has remained ever since the 3rd.
Neither of these teams really taxing their bullpen when you look at their options moving forward this weekend.
Houston very cognizant of that, kept Lockhart in as long as they thought was possible before bringing Villarreal out of the pen.
Giles able to fan Lovelace. We'll go back and put the catcher's gear on.
Giles able to do his job in the first Cougar batter up to face him in the inning. It's the strikeout of Lovelace, and now back to the top of the order.
Speaking of candidates for that post-game interview, if the Cougars can hang on, Jared Triolo has a decent shot of talking with Coral. Singled in the first, would steal a bag, come home to score on an infield miscue, an unearned run charged to Jake Agnos at the time. Then a very much earned run when Triolo would take care of business himself. The solo blast in the third inning. We have not seen a run plate for either team since then.
Triolo, Fuentes, Lockhart have all had fantastic evenings, and it continues for Triolo. The one-out single to right.
He's now had a chance to run the bases 4 times today, scoring twice. Gives way to Tyler Bilamovich, officially 0 for 3 today with a walk. Remember, Cougars twice today have stranded bases loaded against Jake Agnos and Pirates pitching. That has helped keep this a tight contest.
Houston 12 left on a base.
Cougars fairly healthy. We'll note, of course, Highland did not get the start tonight, though he is in the game, a good sign. He got a contusion on that throwing finger of his in that FIU ball game. And, of course, they're still waiting to get Padgett back, as he's been questionable after injuring his shoulder, similar to that, diving back into a bag. Grayson Padgett, one of their higher energy players, one of the seniors for this group.
Houston, they've won 5 of their last 7, but dropping those series in the American to UConn and Memphis. How big would a victory tonight be?
1 out, runner on first is Triolo. They're just trying to make Villarreal's job that much easier for the save situation coming up in the top of the 9th.
ECU undefeated in conference, 6-0, winners of their last 10, ties Ball State and Stanford for the longest active win streak.
Yeah, Houston, meanwhile, looking for their first Friday night win in conference, as we're now here in the 3rd weekend. Dropped the Friday against both UConn here in Houston and at Memphis last weekend. On deck, Joe Davis, who's 0 for 4 today. He'll have a chance, barring a double play ball here. Again, at the moment, Thor's hammer is going home with Jared Triolo. I don't know any other comic book props to talk about.
Yeah, it seems like that hammer spends a lot of time with the Austinites. There, Triolo and out of Lake Travis, Davis from Bowie High School in South Austin.
Made its way over to Florida. Not sure if it was checked luggage or a carry-on for the conference tournament last year.
I don't think that fits in an overhead bin.
Not sure if it shifts, though, during takeoff or landing. Bilamovich over the right side, able to snag it. Looking for the double play, not in time, and that means Joe Davis will have a chance to come up with 1 on and 2 outs. Triolo wiped off the base paths. Bilamovich will stay on with the fielder's choice.
Yeah, good work there, Bilamovich, quickly out of the box, a hard run to first, and just able to get there before the throw found Brickhouse.
A nice job by Brady Lloyd just to keep that ball in the infield for 1 out. On deck is Ray Fuentes. If for some reason Joe Davis is able to reach base, I say for some reason, not doubting Joe, but we've already seen 1 intentional walk. And let's see what Coach Godwin has in mind here. Again, Houston's been your leader throughout this ball game. Not sure if Giles will go man third base or not after he's been called to pitch and now has since stepped off the mound. We'll have some answers when we come back.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Number 3, Giles at third base.
Well, even though Jake Agnos tonight threw well over 100 pitches, they now go to the, quote, bullpen for a third time. It's your fourth pitcher. I say, quote, because Ryder Giles was your starting third baseman pitch, and now he's back over at third. But here is Barnes.
Zach Barnes, senior righty out of California, comes on. 5.02 ERA, record of 1-2. 14 and a third innings pitched. He's given up 20 hits, walked 3, struck out 17. Batters averaging .351 against Barnes.
Yeah, the California native started his career at junior college over at Iowa Western Community College before becoming a Pirate. And let's see if he pitches to Joe or if it'll be his job to put the second runner on.
Let's go, Joe!
If you're keeping track, that's 2 tosses from Barnes to first, none to home, where Joe Davis currently occupies the batter's box.
He does not appear to be in any rush to send the initial offering Davis's way. Davis, a rare hitless night thus far.
Bielamovic, your runner at first, reached on the fielder's choice. Pirates 1 out away from being down to their final 3 outs in the top half of the 9th inning. They're hoping to stay within striking distance, down by 2 runs. And, well, at least the Cougars know we're not out of habit to wipe the dirt off of themselves after they slide back into the bag. Sometimes out of habit, you'll see that for some teams. Not familiar with the surfaces they're on. That'll get away. And Bielamovic moves down to scoring position. But you still just need 1 out to get out of this inning.
Wild pitch advances Bielamovic. Focus on the man at the plate, not the man at second.
Let's see if this changes the mindset of pitching to Joe. It does. They're going to intentionally walk him now that there's a bag to occupy.
You've got to think that's the right decision. No one at first. Davis has just been on a tear this season.
Well, and of course, that's going to bring up the weak spot in the lineup. Ray Fuentes, the cleanup hitter, who's reached base all 4 times that he has come up against Pirate pitching. Now, twice it's been on infield errors, but he's been stranded in scoring position all 4 times.
Now, what a decision that is. You're going to intentionally walk Davis to get to Fuentes?
That speaks more about Davis than it does about Fuentes, obviously. He's used to it. Now he's here to protect Davis in the future. Ray reached on the infield error in the first inning. That helped score Triolo for the first time. Ray would get a stolen base along the way. Singles in the 3rd and the 5th. Stranded on 2nd and 3rd respectively, and then stranded on 3rd again last inning when he reached on the shortstop's miscue. And he had a pretty nifty catch. That one will go off the noggin of Washer.
Again, Barnes just has to worry about Fuentes at the plate. 2 aboard, but just has to pick up this final out. Keep it a 2-0 game.
Yeah, this is still a game the Pirates could claim for themselves if things start to click. But mind you, that'd be against Villarreal.
Great pitch there from Barnes.
Zach
able to find the zone, goes low and away.
Yeah, Zach with the pitch he needed right there. Lloyd with the effort. See if Bilamovic had an awkward return. Thought he may have hit the bridge of his nose on that helmet. 5th batter this inning, Ray Fuentes at the plate. 2 on, 2 out. Another look here. Yeah.
Looks like he certainly caught Lloyd, maybe his knee, trying to slide back into second.
One ball, 2 strikes, 2 away. Cougars plated a run in the 1st, insurance in the 3rd with Triolo's homer. 2 runs on 8 hits today. ECU scoreless on 4 hits. 2-2.
Tension just continues to build. Fuentes looking for something that he can take a cut at. Put it in play and maybe bring in another insurance run.
Cougars looking for insurance, but with 2 outs. Bilamovic, the runner, on second. Joe Davis for the first time today on base after the intentional walk. How about that? You go 0 for 4 on a day and you still have the respect. They give you the free pass after that base opened up.
Rightfully so.
And Jake Washer's done a nice job today overall. With runners on, keeping that ball in front of him.
Davis, one of the few players who could go 0 for 4 and pull the intentional walk. But when you lead your team in batting average, hits, walks, and on-base percentage, you can certainly see why.
The pitcher is Zach Barnes, 4th arm today for the Pirates. After Agnos went 5 2/3. Got Fuentes, that's your 3rd out, and that's 2 more Cougars left on base. And that means the Pirates have a chance. Down by 2 when the top of the 9th comes around. Barnes finds out number 3. The Pirates will look to find an answer against Fred Villarreal.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, You won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Fred Villarreal looking for his 7th save of the year as he came in for the final out last inning, able to retire Worrell. It'll be Brickhouse, Burleson, and Brown, the minimum 3 due up this inning. Cougars pitchers more often than not have faced the minimum tonight. 2nd, 3rd, 4th inning, as well as the 7th inning. He was given his last name. Brickhouse shifted it into gear.
Brickhouse comes up with what, for all the world, should be a single. The right field playing so deep, able to get to it finally. Ilimovich, but Brickhouse, a good turn at first, slides safely into second, puts himself in scoring position, and now the tying run up to bat for ECU.
2nd straight inning, and just the 4th time today that the Pirates have had a runner blocking our center field camera. As here's Burleson. He was potentially robbed of a big base hit if that was a foul, if that was a fair ball. Caught by Fuentes back in the 4th inning. 0 for 3 today. A couple of ground outs to the shortstop. He represents again the tying run at the plate. Another tough one. I mean, if you're Burkell, there's nothing you're doing wrong. You're just desperate for that ball to pick up the pace a little bit.
Now you see how deep Burkell is. All the way in shallow right, able to get to it, the freshman. And a nice throw over to first. Picks up the first out. Now Houston 2 away from the victory.
For just the 2nd time today, the Pirates have a runner on 3rd. Bryant Packard was the last guy when he led off the game, being stranded on 3rd ultimately in that 1st inning. Here's Turner Brown looking to break an 0 for 3. Again, Fred Villarreal, one of the tougher pitchers to touch in the American. Back-to-back batters, able to get a bat on it. Take it to the right side.
Houston, they've thrown just 2 tonight. They both done their job. Lockhart, now Villarreal. See if he can finish this out.
Well, Cougars fans would be thrilled if they could see Fred pitch 3 straight games. Now, tomorrow's doubleheader, that might be tough. Cougars not only looking for a win against a good team, but it would be the first loss for ECU in their start of conference play. We won't chalk it up as a victory just yet. Pirates with 2 outs to work with. Pitches in there for a strike.
10-game winning streak on the line. Still 2 outs to work with. Brickhouse just 90 feet away from making it a 1-run game.
Cougars edged out Memphis on Sunday 4-3 to pick up their lone win, then 2 midweek victories, 3-game win streak of their own coming into tonight. 1 on, 1 out. Base runner is Brickhouse over there at 3rd. They're not going to gamble with him, knowing that he eventually will have to come around to score. Pirates more eager right now here in the 9th inning with 2 outs to work with, just to get another base runner on. And high, runners on the corners.
Villarreal walks the tying run. Now aboard is Brown. 2 on, just 1 out. The go-ahead run up to bat for ECU.
It's Jake Washer 0 for 3 today. Set to face Villarreal for the first time. And this is where you start to debate what you're going to do with that runner on first if you're the Pirates with Brown. You'd love to have another guy in scoring position, a potential tying run in scoring position with 1 away. 2 runners have been caught stealing. They're not going to send them here.
Certainly some adrenaline in the veins of Villarreal right now.
Cougars might be willing to trade a run for an out at the moment. Don't think the Pirates would be so eager. And the past few offerings from Villarreal have been just a tad tall.
Yeah, Villarreal working up and in. It was low and away. Able to find the zone. Washer with this 2-0 count.
Brickhouse runner on third, Brown runner on first. That's a foul ball. Villarreal, remember, inherited a couple of runners in the 8th with 2 outs, took care of business. Now here in the 9th, facing his 4th batter of the inning. A double from Brickhouse. Brown able to take advantage with a base hit of his own a moment ago. Washer trying to end his over.
And that's the pitch he would like to see again. Just a little late to it. Villarreal playing with fire.
Washer got pretty close to forfeiting the Pirates' deposit on the bus. That's going to take him back to the hotel. Two Pirates with base hits this inning. Just 1 out. 2-2 to Washer. ECU down to its final out tonight.
What a pitch from Villarreal. Gets Washer to chase it low. Comes up with the strikeout, more importantly. Now just 1 out remaining for the Pirates. Beautiful stuff right there. Just dropped off the table.
Puts the burden on Brady Lloyd. Lloyd 2 for 3 today. Last 2 at-bats have been singles. Was ultimately caught stealing. Not sure if it was a failed hit and run, but again, that would prove to be a critical out last inning when 2 more Pirates would reach in a 2-out rally that came up short. He comes up now with 2 outs and 2 on. Remember, that's the potential tying run at first and Brown for a Pirates team that's trailed ever since the bottom of the first. Villarreal just needs 1. Cougars will take the Friday night against the Pirates. Fred Villarreal was save number 7. Lyle Lockhart with the win as they snap ECU's 10-game winning streak. When we come back, we'll have a chance to chat with the Cougs here on the American Digital Network.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate the 7th championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
7 left on base.
Cougars just got done celebrating with their fans. They gather around their head coach, Todd Whitting, who saw his Cougars get just 1 earned run tonight against Jake Agnos, as well as 1 unearned. Jared Triolo would be the only man to touch home plate for either team, including his home run in the 3rd inning, Kit. But not just Jared Triolo, who I suspect we'll be hearing from in just a moment, but tip of the hat to Lyle Lockhart, who winds up pitching a brilliant effort. Fred Villarreal comes in with the save. They just used 2 arms tonight.
And also Ray Fuentes, the 3rd left fielder. He was outstanding in the diamond defensively, great at the plate. A complete victory from Houston. Give ECU their first loss in conference, snaps their 10-game winning streak.
And Todd Whitting, who played his college ball here in Houston back in the 90s. We're going to hear from Coach, as well as one of the key performers, as it seems like the offensive guys always get the love. But let's check in with Coral. And our apologies, the microphone acting up. Want to say a big thank you to our entire crew here in Houston. And congratulations to Coach, as well as, again, Lyle Lockhart, as well as the bat of Jared Triolo. For Kit McConico, Coral Riggs, I'm Lincoln Rose. Cougars take game 1. Again, they will play a doubleheader tomorrow to wrap up the series. The first game tomorrow will be 1 o'clock Central. You can find access to that over on the Houston website. Cougars pick up the win on this Friday night. They improved to now 3-4 in conference, while the Pirates pick up their first loss here early on in conference play.